Eagle Eye News at 6.
Eagle Eye has done a great job.
And welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6.
We are just having a great time here in Auburn, Alabama. The party is not over yet.
Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
Good evening and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6. My name is Lucas Hazelrig.
And I'm Brady Huneycutt. Thank you for joining us.
On Monday, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, released an article saying that he was inadvertently added to a Signal group chat with several Trump administration cabinet members discussing airstrikes against Houthi rebels in Yemen. Eagle Eye's Brett Fouts tells us more.
On Wednesday, The Atlantic published the full transcript of the leaked Signal group chats that editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg was accidentally added to, where top Trump administration officials were discussing the March 15th airstrikes against Houthi rebels in Yemen.
The messages, which were fully published on Wednesday, included detailed information about the timing and types of aircraft used in the strikes, which were sent by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Other members of the group chat included Vice President J.D. Vance, National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who has taken responsibility for creating the group. Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe, who was also in the chat, testified on Tuesday that no classified information was shared in the group chat. Additionally, Hegseth downplayed the contents of the group chat while speaking to reporters before heading for Guam.
Nobody's texting war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information.
The White House has also downplayed the contents of the group chat, with President Trump saying on Wednesday that, quote, "There was no classified information, as I understand it." We asked Auburn political science professor Peter White about the significance of the group chat and its contents.
There's been some conjecture in the media that the other advantage, of using Signal for this type of conversation is that it is outside of government records. So there are requirements that any sort of deliberations would take place in a government system. They'd be preserved for posterity in the National Archives. Even if they are classified, they're classified and then kept separately in the National Archives. Using a third-party app like Signal would maybe allow the participants to, in their view, speak more freely because it wouldn't be preserved for posterity.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has said that the National Security Council and Elon Musk will launch an investigation into how Goldberg was included in the chat. Meanwhile, several Democratic Congress members have called for investigations into the matter, as well as calls for Hegseth to resign.
It's an incredible display of irresponsibility. They literally had targeting coordinates. So this was really an astonishing breach. My view, Waltz and Hegseth should go.
For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Brett Fouts.
March is Women's History Month, and who better to celebrate than Auburn University Board of Trustees member Elizabeth Huntley. Eagle Eye reporter Morgan Sims has more.
The legacy of women at Auburn University dates back to 1892, what was then known as the Agricultural and Mechanical College of Alabama. And 133 years later, women are still making history. One of those women still making history is Elizabeth Huntley, a lawyer, speaker, author, and child advocate who now serves on the Board of Trustees at Auburn University. Her success has paved the way for young women, and she wants to continue to see women progress in important roles.
Because there's so many smart, amazing women out there that are advocating for women's issues, we are a whole lot better than where we were a decade ago, 20 years ago, or 50 years ago, because we now have voice.
President of Auburn University, Chris Roberts, feels that Huntley is the perfect role model for young women at Auburn University and beyond.
I don't know that I could think of a better example of someone to celebrate and to help represent women's history than Liz Huntley. She is a tremendous leader and example for this university.
One of Liz Huntley's books, called More Than a Bird, illustrates the darkness that she experienced in her childhood, but how getting over that darkness led her to her success today.
It's incredible because of the strength that women possess as they manage the balance between being mothers on many times, being leaders within their families because of traditional roles of women, and they juggle all of those things to do amazing things. And they can they can be some bad mama jammas, for lack of a better way to say it.
And for Auburn News, I'm Morgan Sims.
Auburn is going global. This past Tuesday, March 25th, revived student organization Global Tigers Association met for a lunch interest meeting from 11:30 to 1 in Foy Hall. The lunch was led by Global Tigers of Auburn president and founder Giles Jones, International Cultural Center graduate assistant Zadie Lakin, and Director of Intercultural Education for the Office of Internal Programs, Dr. Adiola Femi. Students and leaders discussed goals for the organization, possible events they could promote, and how the organization could serve as a resource for both international and domestic students in the Auburn family. Attending students expressed interest about learning in diversity, other cultures, and study abroad opportunities.
So our goals are really just to be a catalyst for these kind of conversations that we want to see on our campus, and allowing people to have a diverse and unique experience here at Auburn. We want people to be prepared to go into the world, ready to interact with people from North Africa and from Asia and from Europe and all over the place, because we know that's the kind of world that we live in. We believe that Auburn has first-class students, and we want them to be ready and prepared for a world which is full of so many different opinions and just ready to tackle everything that's ahead of them.
Viral Christian influencer Bryce Crawford made his way to Auburn on Tuesday and hosted a series of sermons and conversations with Auburn students about Christianity. Crawford, who has garnered social media fame from posting content such as testimonies and street interviews, held 2 dialogues on the campus greens to help grow Auburn students' relationship with God. Crawford is collaborating with Chi Alpha Christian Fellowship to travel to college campuses across the country and hold dialogues like these with students. On Tuesday, Crawford drew a crowd of several hundred Auburn students to engage in conversation with him and listen to his testimony. Crawford concluded his trip to Auburn by appearing as the guest speaker for the Chi Alpha worship service on Wednesday night.
Today, Auburn's Honor Congress hosted a student art gallery. Located inside Cater Hall, any and all students were encouraged to submit a piece of work. They had submissions ranging from drawings, paintings, photographs, digital art, and even poetry. Viewers of the gallery were able to vote on their favorite piece, 2 pieces, People's Choice, and Staff Choice. Will be hung in Cater Hall for the next year. Honors Congress student Landon Rawling tells us more.
We just wanted to give honor students the opportunity to display their art for their peers and others to come and see and experience. And also, the winner of our art gallery will be able to have their art displayed in Cater Hall for the next year. So it was really a great opportunity to come and see our peers' work.
After we come back, you'll get a weather forecast from Eagle Eye's Chaz Kapfhammer. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. My name is Chaz Kapfhammer, here with your weather outlook for this week on the Plains. We're finally feeling a hint of summer here on the Plains as temperatures gradually climb into the next week. Starting tomorrow with a high of 81 degrees as we move past Monday, we hover in the 78 to 83 degree range. We're definitely not out of sweatpants season yet, so plan accordingly. Between hot afternoons and chilly mornings, packing a sweater definitely won't hurt either. We'll get a bit of rest from the heat thanks to this cloudy skies on Monday and Thursday, with a chance of rain on Sunday and Monday respectively. Taking a look at the weekend here, it's the same story. Warm weather with a hint of clouds as we approach the end of spring. We're seeing more chance of showers, so enjoy the cool wind while you can. That's all I have for you today. When we come back, we'll get a national news update from Lucas and Brady. I'm Chaz Kapfhammer, and you're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
In 1 week, tariffs are scheduled to start on new vehicles assembled outside the U.S. That's under a proclamation President Donald Trump signed yesterday. Duties on parts are set to begin later. Analytics predict price hikes on both domestic and foreign-made vehicles under the plan. Cox Automotive says the tariffs also could halt about 30% of North American auto production. Amy Kiley has details.
If tariffs hold, you are going to see increases on automotive prices.
Most economists say Americans are in for sticker shock if the president follows through on newly announced auto tariffs. A proclamation he signed yesterday says they include 25% duties on imported assembled vehicles starting April 3rd. It says tariffs on parts will begin no later than May 3rd.
Americans will keep their cars longer. They'll have to. They won't be able to afford them. They'll also have a lot less choice.
Analysts say the tariffs could make it cost prohibitive to sell certain cheap imports in the U.S. They also predict price hikes on American-made cars due to the tariffs on parts. But the White House says parts that comply with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement will get a temporary exemption. It says officials need time to implement a system for those tariffs. Anderson Economic Group predicts eventually the cost to produce a vehicle in the U.S. potentially could rise up to $12,000.
So it may fall in the first instance on the American manufacturer who buys the input, who may then pass it on to the consumer, or it is passed directly through the retail chain to the American consumer.
Economists say the advantage of tariffs is that they can help domestic manufacturers. The United Auto Workers Union president applauds Trump's plan.
You're going to see prices going down, businesses coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
A vast coin collection, much of which was buried underground for more than half a century, is expected to fetch upwards of $100 million at auction. The Traveler collection is thought to be the most expensive coin collection to ever go under the hammer at auction. It will be sold off over the next 3 years, with the first sale on May 20th. The collection features coins from more than 100 territories around the world. The original collector traveled extensively in the 1930s before settling in Europe. To keep the coins out of the hand of Nazis, he packed the coins into cigar and aluminum boxes and buried them underground, where they remained for 50 years.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission announced the recall of more than 224,000 jewelry making kits. That's because they contain liquid resin amounts above federal safety levels. LaRose Industries is recalling the Crazy Art Gem-X Gel to Gem jewelry kits. They include 10 types of kits and a refill pack. They were sold nationwide at stores and online. Liquid resin can cause skin, eye, respiratory irritations when touched, ingested, or inhaled. There are no reports of injuries of those with the kits, and they should not be used. If a contact is made, make an effort to contact the company for a refund. Jewelry that's already been created should be inspected to see if it's fully cured. The company says if there's liquid or liquid residue, the jewelry should not be worn or stored away from kids. The resin no longer presents a danger once it's cured. When we come back, you'll get an entertainment update from our very own Caroline Burrows. You're watching Eagle Eye TV.
To Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Caroline Burrows, here to give you an update on all things entertainment. University of Maryland students will learn it's not easy being green at their commencement this year. The school has announced Kermit the Frog will be delivering a speech to graduates on May 21st. The University of Maryland says the beloved Muppet will offer words of optimism and encouragement as students embark on the new chapter in their lives. Kermit has a long history with the school. Muppets creator Jim Henson graduated from the university in 1960. The campus garden even has a bronze statue of Kermit and Henson. Kermit previously delivered a commencement address to the Southampton College graduating class in 1996. A baby born in Minnesota hospital who weighed just 8 ounces at birth has finally been released to head home with his family. Let's take a look.
Hi, beloved. Are you going home today?
When you look at Bilal, you see a baby with an oxygen mask.
Are your brothers and sisters coming today?
What you don't see is his struggle to survive. To truly understand the miracle of Bilal, we have to go back in time to a year ago.
It's an extraordinarily rare phenomenon.
The quintuplets, born at 23 weeks, was more than just rare. It made their survival unlikely. The biggest weighing in at just a pound, the tiniest, Bilal, at 8 ounces.
Second smallest baby in the world, described in this tiniest baby registry.
For the team at Children's Minnesota, Bilal's case was historic. Dr. Thomas George, the medical director of neonatology, says the odds of all 5 surviving was around 10%.
The kids overcame extraordinary odds.
You can see in these photos just how tiny he was, hooked up to machines in the NICU.
I didn't think he was going to make it.
We were living by the hour, and by the grace of God, he is here.
For years, Hawa Muhammad dreamed of being a mother.
I was always hopeful I'd be a mom. God finally gave me 5.
Her miracle babies now finally all together under one roof. As she takes the last baby home exactly a year to the day after she welcomed them into the world.
All praise to God. I'm very happy today because my children and I are healthy and going home.
And the team that helped them beat the odds.
All the staff here helped me a lot. They were there for me and helped me raise my children.
Are helping them celebrate their incredible journey and birthday.
Thank you.
Movie news now as the stars of the next Avengers movie assemble, and we get our first look at a film best known for a tragedy on the set. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Coming home soon.
Chris Hemsworth and more than a dozen other familiar faces are set to return in Avengers Doomsday. Marvel says Thor, played by Hemsworth, will be back, as will Anthony Mackie's Captain America, Sebastian Stan's Winter Soldier, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, and Simu Liu's Shang-Chi, among others. Anthony and Joe Russo, directors of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, return to helm Avengers Doomsday, due in theaters May 1st, 2026.
God bless the wicked. They continue to pay my bills. Some things in this life you can't get back, I reckon.
The first trailer for Rust is out more than 3 years after cinematographer Helena Hutchins was killed on the film's set. She's listed in the credits for the Western, set in 1880s Kansas, and her husband and son reportedly will receive profits from the film as part of a wrongful death suit settlement. An involuntary manslaughter case against star Alec Baldwin was dismissed last year. Rust premieres in theaters and on VOD May 2nd. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That's all I have for you in the world of entertainment. Let's send it back to Lucas and Brady at the desk.
For the first time, the fight against suicide is making its way to Auburn. The event takes place tonight and is an amateur boxing exhibition intended to raise money for suicide prevention.
March Madness returns tonight as the opening games of the Sweet 16 are set to be played. Auburn plays their Sweet 16 game tomorrow night against Michigan, who is led by former Auburn point guard Trey Donaldson.
Major League Baseball is also back in action, as today was opening day for all 30 Major League teams. Despite today being opening day, the first regular season game of the 2025 season was played between the Los Angeles Dodgers and Chicago Cubs in Tokyo on March 18th.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, but for more Auburn news, please head over to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and check out our social media pages. My name is Lucas Hazelrig.
And I'm Brady Huneycutt. Thank you for watching, and War Eagle.